This is strange. That single thought has graced my mind a countless number of times since my life here began. It feels like an easy way to discard a troubling question, as if simply labeling something with those 3 words will make it go away, or at least not worth thinking about any further. My life before my heart attack feels more blurry every time I try to remember it, and my mind struggles to keep up with all the events suddenly happening around me since. I heard somewhere that this is what it feels like to be left stranded in a country with only the most basic understanding of the local language. Indeed, when I think about it, it seems a marvelously apt analogy for what's happened to me. But such situations are also supposed to make you very capable in that language very fast, as you're forced to learn it in order to survive. Put another way, the situation becomes sink or swim. I wonder if I've really managed to swim after all this time. The exams are stressing me out a lot, even though they've finally come to an end. But I've remained in Muto's favor, and I have some sort of direction for my future now. But I keep using that stupid, meaningless phrase. This is strange. It really is amazing how fast one comes to accept being surrounded by people with sometimes incredibly jarring disabilities and conditions. So much so that I really wonder why I felt so much like a foreigner. It certainly isn't for lack of socialization or friends. I've come to know most of my classmates on first-name terms, and know a few others around the school. Whether they're missing an arm or leg, the students here are just like anyone else of their age. I can navigate the halls that I once lost myself in with an ease I'd not expected to ever have, thanks to the school's logical layout, and can engage my teachers in comfortable discussion. I swirl around gently the tea in my cup, the reflected image of my face becoming distorted by the moving liquid. This is strange. I used to hate drinking tea. Maybe I'm thinking too much, I say out loud. The familiar sound of china rattling from a teacup touching an accompanying saucer rings out. Is something the matter? Lily says. Don't worry, it's nothing. I take a long sip of the tea in front of me as the girls do. Just whiling away the time in Lily's room, sipping tea with her and Hanako. It feels familiar, almost nostalgic. So how's your work in the newspaper club going, Hanako? I want to know too, Lily adds. It sounds like it would be quite interesting. Hanako's face turns down at the attention placed upon her, though her smile belies the fact that she genuinely likes being the center of interest for the two of us. It's good. I think I'm getting better at it. Naomi and a couple of her friends handle most of the jobs, getting stories and stuff. I just do the computer things, like putting the stories together and getting it printed. It's nice, since I can sit and concentrate. I see Lily's low-tech nature isn't shared by Hanako. While sitting in a room compiling other people's newspaper articles into documents doesn't strike me as overly outgoing, it is heartening to see her widening her circle of friends. Baby steps, I guess. It's probably a bit much to be expecting her to become a socialite like Lily. How are you finding Naomi? I heard she can be quite troublesome at times. And Lily's going into her mothering mode over Hanako. Letting go of her is something she's had to learn. Hanako scratches her cheek, thinking on her answer. Naomi's nice. She's a bit loud sometimes and a bit tiring, but she's really helpful. Her friends are nice too. That's wonderful to hear, Hanako. I'm glad you found such a source of such enjoyment. Lily's smile is warm and genuine, but I can sense a touch of wistfulness to it as well. Hanako seems to miss that entirely, but I don't think for a second that I'm imagining it. I suppose it's because I've slowly come to pay more and more attention to everything going on around me. With things seemingly happening faster and faster, it feels like I'd miss something if I'm not as observant as possible. With the exams, my newfound love life, trying to fit in some studying regarding my options for college and university, and my heart condition applying the brakes on everything at irritatingly random times, my brain's been in overdrive recently. It makes me appreciate the rare quiet moments such as these. I guess this is why Lily came to appreciate her weekly walks to the convenience store and her tea parties with Hanako, despite her like of being surrounded by others. They gave her a moment of peace in a chaotic and busy life. Thank God the exams are over, eh? The comment draws an earnest chuckle from both of the girls. It seems like everybody's been a lot happier since the exams ended last week. So what are you doing for the holidays, Hanako? I quickly count the days in my head. Today is Monday and school finishes on Saturday. 5 days to go after all, I conclude. I was thinking of traveling. Just around a bit. There's a lot of places I want to see, and I think I have enough money to pay for the bus and train rides. Naomi and one of the other girls in the newspaper club said they might come along too. Her look indicates she's given the matter quite a lot of thought. I'm kind of surprised that she's contemplating something like this. It seems she's really become intent on striking out on her own. Is there anywhere in particular you're thinking of going? Lily asks. I was thinking that Kyoto sounds nice. I think I'll try to go to a few places, though. Lily nods in approval, happy with Hanako's plans. While I cast my eyes to Lily, I refrain from asking her the same question. She's been evasive with her plans for the future for a long time now, but I never seem to get a good time to broach the subject alone with her. Every time it comes up in conversation, it feels like she's either unsure of herself or simply dodging the question. It's troubling. Be sure to call sometime while you're out and about, I tell Hanako. I gave you my number before, right? She gives a quick nod, a happy smile on her face. It's strange to see how happy people seem to become when they have a goal to work towards. Yuko seems to brighten whenever her university aspirations are brought up, and now Hanako is just the same. So why do I still feel this uncertainty? And why Lily too? Relationships really can be irritatingly troublesome sometimes. Oh, what time is it? Hanako asks. Oh. It takes me a second to remember that Lily's clock doesn't have any visual feedback. I really should know given how many times I've been in her room. Nevertheless, I take my watch from my bag and quickly check it, the reason for her asking becoming clear. It's about 20 past 10, I say. Nearly curfew. Hanako rises to her feet, dusting herself off and neatening her gown after doing so. I'd better be going then. Good night, Lily. Hisao. Sleep well, Hanako. See you tomorrow, I add. With that, she walks to the door and quietly makes her exit. Silence. This seems to be happening more and more between Lily and me recently. After a few seconds, I finally find something to talk about. Oh yeah, I talked to Muto on Friday and finally checked out some guides on college and how to apply for it. That's good news, Lily says. If you're going to be applying for colleges, I assume you have some idea in mind of what you might do in the future. I think I've settled on becoming a science teacher, I tell her. It's going to take a while to get through university and everything to get qualified, but I think it'll be worth it. Lily's face brightens considerably at the news. I suppose, with her wish to become a teacher, she's delighted I'd take the same kind of path. So, you've decided on a career of teaching. I think that path suits you most excellently, Hisao. I smile and nod. This time, even if I know she can't see me doing so, I know she feels it. I imagine Muto would have taken to the news well. That's one word for it, I tell her. Hey, Lily. Yes? I know you want to be a teacher, but... For a second, I wonder whether I should really ask her the question on my mind, but that's quickly brushed aside by the fact that this is rather late to be having second thoughts. Surely you don't still think I'd be offended by something regarding my blindness, she says. Her accusing tone is betrayed by her grinning face, amused at my awkwardness in raising the topic. Some things never change. Good point, I guess. I was just thinking whether or not being blind would be a hindrance, what with your ambitions to become a teacher and all. She looks mildly surprised before giving the question some thought. I refuse to think that she's never actually pondered this issue before. I wonder, she says. Hisao, could you close your eyes for a moment? Okay. Raising an eyebrow, I do as she requests. I have no idea what she has in mind, and my questions only increase as I peek out from one eye. Taking the black ribbon she usually wears in her hair from the cabinet beside her bed, she advances toward me while running it through her fingers to remove any stray hairs remaining on the piece of cloth. I suddenly click onto her intentions as I feel the black strip make contact with my face, wrapping around my head and over my eyes. What exactly is this for? It's a little test, Hisao. Since you seem to be wondering, I'll let you see things as I do for a time. Huh, so that's what this is about. To be honest, this actually sounds kind of fun. Childish and rather silly to anyone who would be watching, but a bit of silly fun never hurt anyone. I stand up with a heave, my hands quickly moving out in front of me to warn me of any obstacles. Okay, now what? Now, touch me, she says. If you say so. Now then. I slowly make my way forwards toward the sound of Lily's voice. My walking speed could barely even be called a shuffle, the entire experience feeling alien enough that I don't want to risk inadvertently tripping over anything, such as her table or her haphazard piles of books. Something soft yet solid brushes against my left leg. Further inspection reveals it to be Lily's bed. I move onwards, finding myself thankful that Lily's room is so neat and tidy. Even the piles of books she has are generally kept close to the wall, well out of harm's way. The hard wall pressing against my outstretched hands makes me furrow my brow in frustration. Hey, Lily, where are you? What are you doing over there? She says. I'm over here. Her voice comes from the other side of the room, far from where it was before, even to my untrained ears. If she's going out of her way to avoid me reaching her, then is this just a game to her? Of course it is. Comparing a life to where even the concept of sight is an abstract one, a few minutes in a blindfold are nothing. I guess she's made her point. She's more than capable of navigating her room, and further, I've seen how independent she is even when compared to many of the others in Yamaku. Well, even if this is just a game, I may as well play it wholeheartedly. With a pace much quicker than before, I moved toward the source of her voice, deftly sidestepping the table in the center of her room, thanks to remembering its position. "I've got you now." She gives an impish giggle, one just long enough to work out that she's passing just beside me. I quickly turn around to face the new direct. The table wasn't there before. Ow, ow, ow. I slowly sit up next to the table, raising my blindfold as I rub my aching head. I give an irritated kick to the table that's sitting just in front of where I fell. Utterly pointless, but the thing deserved it. "Hisao?" Lily's still standing just to my side, obviously unsure of what's befallen me. "Sorry," I say. "I kinda fell over." "Are you hurt?" "My head hurts, but I think I'm okay. I think the table moved in order to trip me over." She giggles as she walks over and takes a seat beside me, her hand resting on my own. "I suppose that's the end of that then," she says. "I think so. But I also think I get the point, though I do wish it hadn't involved such a headache." Lily suddenly looks blank. "Point?" she says. And I return an extraordinarily flat look. "That was just for fun," I say. "I just thought it might ease you up a little about the subject," she replies. "You always seem to tiptoe around it after all." In regard to teaching, sight isn't that important. There are plenty of classes taught by entirely blind teachers, and more than enough resources for me to learn the subject. "It's as simple as that, really," she concludes. I slump my shoulders and give a snort of amusement. "Yeah, I understand. I guess we'll both just have to work hard to reach our goals then." "What is it?" I say. With a little hesitation, Lily pushes forward her chin and closes her eyes in an unmistakable gesture. I accept gladly, our lips touching. As they do, I suddenly feel her hand snaking up my chest from underneath my shirt. The feeling of her hand against my bare skin is enough to make my heart suddenly accelerate. So, she's in that kind of mood again? Well, I'm hardly one to complain. She does genuinely like this, and even with all my medications, my libido is thankfully still intact. And so we end up back in Lily's dorm room having a tea party with her and Hanako, sitting in his cell, thinking over in his mind all the changes and everything that he has been through in just the couple short months that he has been at Yamaku so far, and how much his life has changed and all, and then, sitting there thinking maybe I'm just thinking too much, and then gets into a discussion with them about plans for the future and stuff and how he's planning on being a teacher. And once again gets to the point where he knows there's no real point in asking Lily because she keeps avoiding the subject anytime future plans are brought up. But we are able to draw out Hanako and talk to her, and she's talking about how she's saved up money and is planning on traveling during the summer, thinking about going to Kyoto and all, and that a couple of the girls in the newspaper club that she belongs to might come along with her. As we've mentioned before, Hanako has a much better life in this particular story whenever Hisao decides to date Lily instead of dating her. Now, we don't know for sure what might have happened if she and Hisao if we had seen what happened to them after they became boyfriend and girlfriend, because we have to remember that their story ended before Lilly even came back from Scotland. So we've had about another month's worth here with him and Lilly dating. But I just have a hard time imagining that they would have done anything other than just kind of retreated into their little shell. They might have gone into town more often, had a few more dates at the cafe and stuff. But I don't see her deciding to travel around the country and go visit places if she and Hisao had hooked up. We are able to talk to Lily a bit about her plans of being a teacher and all. She's very happy that we've decided to be one. While she won't give us immediate plans as far as what she's doing this summer, she will talk to us some about her long-term plans of becoming a teacher, and we ask her about, isn't blindness a hindrance to that? And she once again gets around with the whole tiptoeing around, getting upset with the fact that we tiptoe around the fact of her blindness all the time. So she decides to play a little game and blindfolds us with her black hair ribbon, and then has us chase her around the room a little bit until we trip over the table. We think she's making a point and ask her about it, but no, she's just trying to make us more comfortable. And we're like, are we just playing a game? And then realize, of course, we're just playing a game, because we're talking to somebody who doesn't know what sight is. So this is her world. It's like she can't become unblind just by taking off her blindfold after she wears it for a few minutes. So so we try and talk to her again. Start in on a little bit of a discussion. And she discovers a way to distract us away from the subject once again. So whether it's playing games or having sex, she just will not talk about her future plans with us. Which Hisao goes along with. I mean, it does disturb him that she just won't talk about the future. But, it's a good way to distract a guy. And as he's thinking, he has to be thinking in his mind what we've talked about before, healthy adolescent sex drive, my ass.